I am the father time of nursery, agent infinitely poetry of nursery. I am agent infinitely every second poetry eclipsing with nursery. Father time of nursery. Father time is the entity of general infinite time infinitely is the father time of spiritual entity. The spiritual entity of father time speaks eclipsing throughout me. The spirit of the infinite spiritual entity of Father Time speaks throughout me. I am aging every second infinitely. I do not have a fountain of youth. I age just like all of thee. I travel to the end telepathically through the spirit of eclipsion of the entities. I travel to the end of time telepathically through the spiritual entities. The spirit of Father Time speaks throughout of me in the words of a nursery. I am the Father Time of poetry, the Father Time of poetry, infinitely eclipsion, telepathically, confliction, eclipsion, spiritual entities. Confliction, eclipsion, spiritual entities. I am the Father Time of nursery, eclipsion of poetry. I am the Father Time of nursery, infinitely the Father Time of poetry. I am aging just like all of thee infinitely. I travel to the end of time telepathically through the spirit of eclipsion infinity. I am infinitely the agent, infinitely anti-agent telepathically. I am the man with Peter syndrome, a man with Peter Pan syndrome leading the army infinitely. I will lead them to the battle of Armageddon infinitely. I am the lamb with the garments, can't you see? A child shall lead them infinitely. The man with Peter Pan syndrome is me infinitely. I am the man with Peter Pan syndrome. A child shall lead them, it says in the biblical infinite words of biblical spiritualism. The spirit of the infinite lamb of the garments is me. I am the lamb of the garments from the book of Revelation, can't you see? And the revelation, we all have our own positions infinitely. So it's not as far-fetched as you think randomly. Infinitely coming off the top of me is biblical psychology. I am the lamb of the garments leading them into the battle infinitely. I am gonna lead the battle of Armageddon infinitely. The infinite shame of me. I am infinitely ashamed of me. I am the lamb of the garments from the story of Revelation infinitely. In the revelation, we all have our own positions, can't you see? Father Time speaks this through telepathically through me. A child shall lead them infinitely. The man with Peter Pan syndrome shall lead the army of good entities in the spiritual entity, the spiritual and infinitely. A child shall lead the spiritual entities to the war of the infinite end. The spirit of the child entity, a spirit, the child shall lead them into the Armageddon battle infinitely. A child shall lead them into the battle of Armageddon infinitely. I am the child mentality of rap infinitely. The child innocence of rap speaks throughout me. Father Time is infinitely speaking throughout me. I can make all of the spiritual entities speak telepathically through me. I have a fountain of youth through the telepathy nursery. I have a fountain of youth of the telepathy nursery. Infinitely, all of the spiritual entities will be led into Armageddon by me. A child shall lead them. The man with Peter Pan syndrome is me infinitely. I am the infinite lamb with the garments from the position of the revelation speaking infinitely. Telepathically, all of the entities speak throughout me. I am the eclipsion of all of the spiritual entities, can't you see? Verbally, I am slicker than Socrates. I have the infinite biblical spiritual warfare knowledge for infinity. The spiritual entity shall be leading to Armageddon by me. Everyone has their own position in the revelation infinitely. I am the lamb of the garments, can't you see? A child shall lead them into the battle of Armageddon. The man with Peter Pan syndrome, a child shall lead them.